Hey guys, today I'm going to show you how to install a new radio in your 2002 to 2004 Audi A4, anything in the B6 series that has the Audi Symphony 2 radio with the Bose sound system. I was having a little bit of a hard time finding a straightforward video on this model with the exact kind of radio that I'm going to be using, so I figured that I would do a public service and put one out here for you. I'll link the guide that I used in the description as well, if you want to show that person support. So let's first go over which radio I'm going to be using for this project. Right here I have a Sony AX XAV 1000. I believe that's what it is. So yeah, here's that. It's a great stereo. It has Apple CarPlay as well as Android Auto, Bluetooth, all that good stuff. So yeah, this is the stereo that I'm going to be using for this project. This is about $200 on eBay. Next thing that you're going to need is, if you have the Bose sound system, is you're going to need two of these adjustable line output converters, and I'll put links to everything in the description on where you can buy them. These are about $8 a piece. And you're also going to need a doubled in faceplate adapter, so that's what this is here, as well as your wiring harnesses. So this is the wiring harness that shipped with my radio right here. So I'm going to have to read through the booklet, and I'm going to have to determine which wires go to which on the harness that was shipped to me with the aftermarket kit, which that's what this is right here. So I'll have to connect those guys together. This also came with the aftermarket kit. It's got the RCA inputs for the Bose stereo. So that's what those two things are. And we also have here an antenna adapter as well for the radio. That goes into the factory bits on the car. So I'm going to get started by reading in my booklet which wires I need to connect here and solder together. Okay, so the first thing that you're going to want to do is you're going to want to go ahead and strip off the ends of the wires on the radio harness if that has not been done for you already. And on the aftermarket harness that you got from eBay, go ahead and just tape off or crimp off the white and black and the gray and black wires from that harness, because you will not be needing them for this installation. The first thing that we're going to do after that is we're going to go ahead and solder together the yellow, the orange, and the black wires on the two harnesses. Leave the red wire exposed from the radio harness, because we're going to need to wire this into a fuse tap later in the installation. Another good thing to make sure you have is some shrink wrap or shrink tube to put over your solders when you're done. So let's start by soldering these two yellow wires together. Remember to put the piece of shrink wrap on the wire before you start soldering. And you can see here what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and twist these wires together and get a nice firm connection to begin with. Then gently solder the wires together. The best way to do this is to put the soldering iron under the wire and let the solder soak up through the entire wire. I was not doing that in this procedure, but if you're looking for the best results, that's the way that I would recommend doing it. Once your solder is dry, go ahead and stick your shrink wrap over it. Grab a lighter and shrink the shrink wrap over your connection. And your first connection is done. Go ahead and repeat these steps for the black and orange wires. So you need to be careful when it comes to wiring the grounds on this particular harness. First thing that you're going to want to do is you're going to want to cut off the little ground connector on the wire that came with the radio, if yours came with one, and then just strip it down to bare wire. You'll notice on the radio it also came with a pretty long white light green wire. Go ahead and strip that wire too and cut it to about the same length as the ground wire. Then twist those two together and then twist the two wires to the one ground wire on the harness, and then go ahead and solder all those together. That wire's in the parking brake sensor with the radio harness to the factory harness so your radio can keep powered. So go ahead and solder those three together and then make sure you get shrink tube over them. I'm going to go ahead and crimp off the speaker wires from the aftermarket harness because we will not be needing those. So just get some crimp tube and then crimp them with your crimpers on their insulator crimp setting. Okay, so this next part's a little bit tricky here. So go ahead and electrical tape your harness up if you want to make it look a little easier and nicer for you. And then go and grab one of your PAC SNA35 converters. Once you do that, you should go ahead and tape off the brown wires or crimp them off just like you have been with the other ones, because those are only needed for if your amplifier will not turn on its own. And then it's pretty straightforward. Just match the gray and the white wires, if they're striped or not, to each other. Go and solder them together, and then those will be connected just fine. The real trouble comes when it gets to the back wires, when you have to match other colors to different colors. So I'm going to go ahead and help you with that right now. Go and get your front wired up now. Thanks. Okay, so here's where it gets tricky. When it comes to matching the colors with the gray and black and white and black ones, because what you're going to be doing is you're going to be using just another SNI35 converter, and they're just going to be gray and black wires, and they're not going to correspond directly like they did with the other one. So what you want to do is you want to go ahead and connect the green wire to the plain white wire. And then after that, you're going to want to connect the green and black striped wire to the white and black striped wire. You're then going to want to complete this same process with the purple wires. So you're going to want to do the solid purple wire with the solid gray wire and the striped purple wire with the striped gray wire. And then after that, you should be wired up. So to go over that one more time, you're going to want to do the gray to gray on the front, and then gray stripe to gray stripe on the front, and then white to white, and white stripe to white stripe on the front. And then when you get to the rear, you're going to do green to white, and then green stripe to green stripe, green stripe to white stripe, and then purple to gray, and then purple stripe to gray stripe. And then you should have your PAC systems wired up. Next thing you need to do is you're going to need to get your RCA harness right here, and go ahead and cut off the little connector thing that's on the blue wire on that, if there is one. And then you also need to get your antenna adapter, cut that one off too. And then go ahead and strip those wires and connect all of your blue wires together. The one from the radio, the one from the antenna, and the one from the RCA adapter. Once you do that, go ahead and put a shrink tube on top of it, solder them together, and then when you're complete with that, we're going to go ahead and look at how we should have our PAC wiring systems plugged in. Okay, so your PAC wiring boxes should look exactly like this. With the label facing up, you need green on the left, purple on the right, and white on the left, and gray on the right. You need it to be just like that in order for this to work. Also, there's a little side note. There's volume dials on the back of those wiring, on the back of those boxes, and you can turn the default volume up or down with a little screwdriver on that. And you can see here I'm just going ahead and I'm going to plug that into the back of the radio. Now that we have everything all wired up, there's one last thing we need to do before we head over to the car. Alrighty, so the easiest way to do this is to buy these things called fuse taps, and that's what these are right here. Basically what they do is they tap into a circuit that's already present, and you can run off of that instead of having to create a new one by yourself. So that's what these are. I got like 5 of them for $5 or something like that. So pull out fuse number 36. It's what controls your wiper blades. And then go and swap another fuse in there and then put that fuse back in. Then go ahead and jump that one wire that we left out of the radio harness to the fuse wire. The way you do this is you run it through the dash and then you connect the two, and then whenever you switch your key on, it'll turn the fuse on. Pretty smart, right?
Goes like that. So see what happens now is you still have your circuit on 30, and then this is for your radio.
Okay, so with this one coming out of your loom, it's going to go all the way down, and it's going to snake over to your fuse box. The tricky part is going to be trying to find a passage from your radio area over to your fuse box. So looking this way, the fuse box is over there.
See if it...
Just need to test it first, so let's do that.
Okay, see if it works.
Yes.
Windshield wipers work. Now go into your balance. Make sure right is right and left is left.
So before I mount everything up, I need to run my microphone, and I need to run my USB cable. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. Okay, so my plan is, I pulled this bolt out here. So now this comes out, gives me some more room there. And in here, I also loosen this. So I'm going to, if you look back in here, you can see this wiggle. So I'm gonna pull the wire down through that hole and then loop it up into the other hole. Wish me luck. Okay, so I was able to get this ran now. I'm gonna do the exact same thing with the microphone. I'm just gonna follow that red wire. I pulled it off of the thing to make it a little smaller, and I'm just gonna feed it through. Okay, so trim this wire down, and this little crimper came with it, so I'm just gonna use that. Basically what you do is you just stick the bare end of the wire into there, and then you use a pair of crimp tools, and you put them on the crimp setting and then squish that down. Then I'll put the fuse panel back on, and that part will be done. Okay, so for mounting, you need to take these two bolts out right here. It's an 8mm socket. So when it comes to attaching the faceplate to this particular radio, what you want to do is you're going to want to actually, I'll show you here in a bit, you cut off part of the plastic, and then you stagger the screw placement so it'll fit in there with the faceplate better. So yeah, let me show you how to do that right now. This is what we had to slice off. This little chunk here, and we used this bit for it, and we are doing that because it didn't fit with the faceplate.
There's a bolt in the way in the back.
There's a bolt in the way in the back, so now we're just fixing this up. Alright, and here we go. Look how awesome this new radio is here. All plugged in and set up. The faceplates on there nicely. We did have to do a little bit of fabrication. Got a remote. And now let me show you this. So, brought the USB cable down through here, over there. I can just pull that up here. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to plug my phone in, just like that. And then when I turn the car on, it connects to my phone. And it's really nice. There's all kinds of cool stuff that you can do with it, so yeah, it's awesome. Music library. And everything sounds really good too. You always step to my girl. And you have full, let me show you. You have full control of all of your EQ settings and all kinds of crazy stuff like that. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. I hope this was helpful for you. And have a Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed the video you just watched. If you did, please consider supporting the channel. Click to my right to subscribe, And to your left, you'll discover more videos posted by Telebyte. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. See you later.